welcome to Saturday Night Crafting. My name is Sasha Reed. In tonight's video, we are going to play with our leftover pieces. So I've been making backgrounds like crazy. I don't know if you've been the same, if you've joined me on any of my photo paper fun. This is all photo paper. I've done several videos. I'll link them down below for you if you want to check out how to make all these backgrounds. There's a few different techniques used here. But I've got all these panels left over. Now, if you've got designer papers that you need to use up, this video will work for that as well. This will hopefully give you some inspiration to use up those papers that are lying around, whether they're handmade ones or whether they are papers in your stash that you've got from paper pads that you've used or not used. So I'm getting started by pulling out all the ones that I'm not going to use. So I've got quite a few Christmas backgrounds here where I did some resist stamping. And I'm just going to pull out those ones because I don't want to use those ones today because I am done with Christmas. I'm not making any more Christmas cards until at least October. The next thing I'm doing is going through all my stamps. I'm pulling out anything with patterns, designs that I really like. All the stamps I've used down in this video, I'll hopefully link down below for you in the description box if I can find them again. But honestly, just go through your stash, have a look at any stamps that have got beautiful patterns and designs, and that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm adding some extra elements to my background papers. So I've got my photo paper here, which has got my beautiful colors on it, and I wanted to add a bit more of a design to it. Because we're going to use these papers as kind of like our spotlight, our sort of focal point of our card, I wanted to add a little bit more extra to them. Now I'm going to share with you two different ways on how to make the card based on what you might have in your stash, just to kind of help you get some ideas. So I'm going ahead and stamping a whole bunch of my panels with a whole bunch of different designs and images. Now to get started on my first design, I'm pulling out some circle dies. These are the infinity dies from Hero Arts. I'll link them down below for you. Hopefully they're still in stock, I'm not sure. And all I'm going to do is place my circles randomly on the front of my card. Now, if all you've got is a hole punch, then you might be able to achieve something similar with your hole punch. If you've got different sized hole punches, you could just kind of go for a pattern. You could have all the same size circles all down one edge. You can be quite creative with this. So I'm lining up my circles in a random pattern. I'm keeping that bottom sort of right hand side fairly clear because I'm going to put a sentiment down there, and I did mean to stamp the sentiment before I did anything else just so I had an idea of where I wanted to put my circles, but never mind, it seemed to work out okay in the end anyways. Now to add a bit of extra security, I am putting some Scotch tape over top of my repositionable light low tack tape. So this is the mint tape from scrapbook.com. It's basically a post-it note tape, and I'm adding that Scotch tape to the back because I find that sometimes when I run it through my Big Shot, it kind of rips that paper a little bit if I want to do a few panels, and I did cut out a few different panels. So I really wanted to make sure that that tape was nice and reinforced so that I could run it through my Big Shot a few times. Now to take off some of the stick, I am adding my embossing powder bag, so it's kind of like a talcum powder bag, just to take some of the stick out because sometimes I find it can rip your cardstock just a little bit when you pull it all up. So I'm just adding a bit of that extra powder onto the back, and then that way when I lift my tape up when I'm done die cutting, it all comes up nice and easily. So I'm going to go ahead and run that through the Big Shot and die cut out those shapes in my cardstock. Now, obviously you could do this again and again and again. You could create yourself a whole bunch of the panels, and then that way you're using up a whole bunch of backgrounds. So here are all my finished backgrounds. I stamped a whole bunch of images on them, random ones on random different colors. I wanted to have a really nice array of colors. So I did do quite a lot of these, but I mean, I can go ahead and use these on multiple cards, but I stamped out tons and tons using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Now I'm checking them all individually, making sure that they are not lifting up. As you can see here on this green one, it's still a bit wet. So if you find it's a bit wet, you can go ahead and heat set it with your heat tool. But do be careful because if you're using the photo paper, you will find that it will kind of bubble up and wreck your photo paper if you hold that heat for too long in one spot. Now if you're doing this on just regular paper, regular cardstock, you're probably fine and it won't be causing a mess and giving you any kind of lifting of that black ink. Next step is really nice and easy. You're just going to take your panel, lie it over top of your images, and work out what one you want to go behind which circle, and then you can just go ahead and roughly cut it out. Does not need to be pretty, doesn't need to be nice. You can be as messed up as you want because all we're going to do is tape it to the back. So I'm grabbing that trusty tape again, the clear Scotch tape. Any tape will work, and we're just going to tape it right to the back and then do that for all the circles. So we're going to fill in behind each circle, picking out whatever pattern you'd like to go behind it. I tried to mix up my colors. I tried to have different colors behind each circle. So I had some blues, some pinks, some purples, the sort of mixed ones. I tried to go for different patterns and stick those behind the circles. Honestly, you can just have so much fun doing this, and the best bit is that it doesn't have to look pretty from behind. We're just going to cover it up anyways. So I'm going ahead and sticking all those panels on the back, taping them down, and then we're going to apply it to the card base, and no one will ever know any different that the back is so ugly and messed up. Again, stamp before you do this part here, because it could make your stamping a bit lumpy. Thankfully mine worked out, but if it does, you want to make sure you stamp beforehand. Now, if you get any black transferring anywhere because it wasn't quite dry, you can take a sand eraser and just kind of roughly rub that over the top, and you can get rid of any of those marks really quickly. Now, I'm really sorry. The sun was shining in. We have had nothing but rain and floods. It's been awful here, and today was sunny. And for whatever reason, the position of the sun in the sky meant that it hit my desk, even though I'm miles away from the window. So I do apologize for some of these kind of shadows we're getting here. I do pause now and go make my kids some lunch, and then by the time I got back it was nice and clouded over, and then I was okay to use my filming lights again. So here's my front panel, and I thought that if I popped this up on a piece of black card, it would really look nice and kind of tie in the black of the stamping on both the little background images as well as my sentiment. So I'm going ahead and adding some double-sided sticky tape to the back of that panel and just kind of sticking it down on the front of my card. I made sure to cut my card base to be about 1 centimeter bigger, or half a centimeter, I think it was half a centimeter bigger than my top panel, and then I went ahead and stuck a panel on the inside so I have somewhere to write as well. At this point I decided I wanted something a little bit more to kind of frame those beautiful images that I've got going on inside the circles. So I decided to take my layering dies and layer them up and cut myself little frames. So that's all I'm doing here is I'm taking the frame that fits the circle and then the one that's slightly bigger, sticking them together with my low tack tape and running it through my die cutting machine. And when you run it through, you get this cute little frame that you know will perfectly match your circle because you've used the same original die that you used for that circle. So you can see it just lines up beautifully over that. And then I take the next size up and it's upper layer as well, and die cut it out. And you can do this, obviously, if you're gonna do multiple cards, then you could do multiples of these die cuts in one go, and then that way you've got several circles to work with. So now they're all glued down on my card, and I really like how it kind of frames them. But to kind of finish off the card and give it a little bit more sparkle, I'm going to add these pops of color. I think they're called pops of color. They're from scrapbook.com, and they're just kind of a dimensional glue, and this one is the clear glitter. So this will dry completely clear and be sparkly. Now for the second version, if you have got a panel die, so a nice big sort of background panel that die cuts out shapes, then you can go ahead and use that die and just kind of die cut out your background and then take those dies and die cut out your stamped panels, and you get a very similar effect. This time you can also kind of pop it up with some foam to give it a bit more dimension, and then you don't kind of need that black outline layer. So the first one I gave myself little frames because I felt like it needed to kind of highlight those circles a bit more. With this one, you can lift up that die, that panel, and it kind of gives you that same effect without having to need a frame. Plus this die set here also kind of frames it a little bit with the stitching. So all I'm doing now is just popping those back in. I die cut out a few different panels of different colors and then I'm popping them back in. And you get this gorgeous background effect as well. So another easy way to take the same kind of idea and concept, but maybe if you've got a panel die in less time, you could use that instead and still get a beautiful look. To finish off this card, I'm going to die cut out Happy and Birthday and also stamp them. These dies and stamps are amazing. They are my favorite. You can interchange them. The dies and the stamps match perfectly, so you can either do double die cuts or you can do what I've done here and stamp it and then die cut it. So it's a really fun set to have. I use these all the time in my videos. They were the best investment I've ever purchased. Every time they come out with new ones, I'm right there buying them. So I had the Merry and the Christmas and they were fantastic as well. So I'm going to do my little Happy and Birthday, and I did it in my heat embossing powder just so that I could stamp onto black. I did it originally with black on white cardstock, and I felt like it kind of blended in too much to that white panel. So I went ahead and put it onto black cardstock instead with white embossing powder to make it kind of pop out a bit more. Now I applied glue to the whole entire back of my sentiment because I don't know where it's going to hit on the card, which bit of the raised part that it's going to touch. So by putting glue on the whole entire thing, I can then just press down where I know it's touching, and then the rest will just dry naturally, and it'll be just, there'll be glue on the back of it, but no one will see. So that's all I did. I just added glue to the whole thing, and then it makes it nice and easy to stick down. Finish it off again. I'm going to add the glitter dots, and that's it. So 2 quick and easy ways to kind of use up those background papers that you've made to add a bit more character to them. Again, if you've only got designer papers, you can easily take those designer papers and stamp over them as well and pop them underneath in the back. I hope you had fun with me tonight, and I hope you give it a go. I've got a link down below for my Facebook group if you want to share any of your creations over there. And I've also got my Instagram and buy me a coffee if you would like to support my channel in a different way. So hopefully you'll have a fantastic week ahead, and I can't wait to see you again next Saturday. Take care. Bye.